My name is Kelly McCutchen, and on behalf of the Georgia Public Policy Foundation, I would like to welcome you all here today. We have a very important and exciting announcement. And in order to give you some background, I'd like to start off by telling you who we are, what we have done, and why we have done it. The Georgia Public Policy Foundation is a statewide, independent, nonpartisan research organization dedicated to informing all Georgians about their government. We provide practical, truthful, and complete information on public policy issues. And our goal is to bring the public back into public policy. During the past few years, the Foundation has published many articles on public policy issues. They include crime, education, welfare reform, the cost of government services, taxes, the growth of state spending, utility deregulation, and many others. That brings us to today's announcement. Nothing is more important to Georgia's future than education. Over half of the $12 billion that we spend each year from the state's level goes toward education. Yet, unfortunately, more parents know more about their school's football team scores than they do about their school's academic performance. We have produced these report cards for the last 3 years to fill that void. We think ours is the first true report card. It uses very specific, common sense criteria. It's easy to understand, and it actually ranks schools. This report shows that there's a lot right about education in Georgia. Our purpose is to identify and acknowledge those schools with superior performance, and hopefully to encourage more involvement, particularly parental involvement, in those schools that aren't yet achieving those high results. Each report is divided into 6 geographic regions, and now I'd like to announce the top 3 schools in the Middle Georgia region. First, for high schools, we have a tie for 3rd place, Dodge County High School and Warner Robins High School in Houston County. Second was Columbus High School in Muskogee County, and first, Houston County High School in Houston County. Congratulations. Middle school, 3rd place, Pike County Middle School in Pike County. Second, Warner Robins in Houston County. And first, Bonaire Middle School in Houston County. Finally, in elementary schools, 3rd place, Springdale Elementary here in Bibb County. Second, Taylor Elementary, also here in Bibb County. And first, Britt David Elementary in Muskogee County. I'd like to congratulate all the schools. Of course, there are many other successful schools that aren't present here today, but we particularly want to recognize the outstanding performance of these schools and the many representatives that are here today. I say congratulations and keep up the good work. I would be happy to answer any questions at this point, or if any one of the representatives here, I'm sure will be happy to field some questions.
What initially inspired the foundation to get into this kind of?
Well, to tell you the truth, we were at a board meeting, and one of our board members had just purchased the U.S. News and World Report. His daughter was going to college, and he was looking at their rankings of all the colleges and universities. And he made the comment that it's a shame that he knew more about colleges and universities in Georgia through this publication than he did about his daughter's public schools that she has attended. And he said, I wish we could do something and provide something to parents that would give them a little better indication about how well their schools are performing. So that really was the first idea that really sprung into these reports. Leadership is a crucial quality, and I've heard many people say, including Franklin Shoemake, who helped us put together this report, former education official, say that, show me a good school and I'll show you a good leader. And I think that's true in most every case.
I guess I'm kind of the outsider of this group. Most of them are from Macon and here Warner Robins, and always traditionally a real good school. I'm Aubrey Corbett, principal at Dodge County High School in Eastman. And we have, I think probably, this was a shocker to us, we try to just do things the right way. And one of the things that probably placed us up here was the high school graduation test. And primarily that's a good cooperative effort between our students and our staff. We do some exciting things. We have kind of like a pep rally to get together before we have the high school graduation test. And then we do a good job of recognizing those students that perform well and a great job of remediating those that do not. And so we've had a lot of success in that area, and I think that's probably something we hope to be able to mirror even with the SAT in the future.
My question is for Carrie. You were talking about poverty earlier and how poverty plays a role in it. Explain to me a little bit in terms I would understand what you're saying.
Right, well, one thing we try to do each year is to incorporate suggestions from principals and educators from around the state and how to make our report better. And we have put the poverty rate in last year based on recommendations by educators. This year we added another criteria, and what that did is it looked at the poverty rate of each school and it projected statistically what you would expect that school's test scores to be based on their poverty, and compared what their actual test scores were, whether they were higher or lower. And in many cases we found schools that may not be number one and may not be here today, but they're doing an outstanding job, whereas their test scores are much higher than you would have expected. So they're so-called beating the curve. And I think that's what we really need to recognize. Like I said, there's a lot right in public education. I think 65% of the children in Georgia are attending a school that scores above the national average on standardized tests. Our challenge is to get that 1/3 that is falling through the cracks right now up to a level that is equal to those, and I think that's our challenge. And a large portion of those children are in poverty, and it's a very difficult task, a much more difficult task to educate those children. And I think what we plan to do is recognize those schools that are doing a good job and hopefully find some things that we can incorporate throughout the state.
And then when you say in poverty, I've heard the term my entire life. You know, I've really heard the term my entire life. So I'm wondering, can you define it just
Well,
for me?
what we normally use as a definition, I think, in education in Georgia is the percentage of the students that are eligible for the federal free and reduced lunch program. One thing we have in our reports, on each one, we actually showed you the graph. I don't know if you can see this very well, but we have test scores here and poverty rates here, and you can see there's a definite slope there. The higher the poverty in general, the lower the test score. And what we want to focus on are schools that have high poverty and have fairly high test scores. And that's what that criteria that we added included this year.
Have you considered a formula that would allow you to rank the schools according to what they're doing with what they've got?
Well, we have considered that, and we decided not to, because we don't want to give parents false illusions about how well their school is performing. We sincerely think that parents have a right to know exactly how well or how poorly their school is performing. We provide this to say, well, step back. If you're not where you really want to be, at least look at your poverty rate. This is one of the key factors in performance. And it appears that you are doing a good job with what you have to work with. And so you can feel good about that, or perhaps you're not doing as well as you should have. There's some schools that are up near the top that don't appear to be really living up to their fullest potential. So that's a possibility also. We encourage parents, this is a targeted report, and academic achievement is a very broad concept, and we think this is about the best way to measure it that we can think of. But you can't really get a full feel for education until you go to the school and talk to the principals and talk to the teachers. We encourage all the parents, particularly even if you have a concern or if you're excited about how well your school is doing, to get involved.
So you feel that test scores are the bottom line to look at regardless of what went into the
Yes.
quality of the...
In life, that's what you're judged on, and that's about all we have that is an objective measure of where these schools are in teaching reading and math.
Principal Allway, I'd like to hear your comments.
My name is James McCutchen, and I contribute. I success to expectations. We have high expectations from our faculty and staff, and we pass these expectations down to our student body. We feel that in Houston County we have an excellent curriculum. We try to create a safe and warm environment for learning. Our kids excel well. This is our 3rd year in existence. We have excellent parental support, and we're just excited about being where we are.
Can you elaborate a little bit on why this report is superior to the Council for School Performance and State Department of Education?
Well, we're targeted at parents, and that's where I think we're superior. The Council on School Performance and Department of Education are very useful, but there's a mountain of data in those reports, and sometimes it's difficult for parents to get a grasp on all that information. What we pride ourselves in doing is boiling down all that information into the few criteria that parents are most concerned about, and academic achievement is what, in every poll that you see, is what parents are concerned about. Now, like I said, we encourage them to go to the Department of Education or the Council on School Performance's report card after they've looked at ours to find more information, because they are much more broad. But we think for what we're trying to accomplish is to narrow down how well the schools are performing in preparing our children, particularly in reading and math, which we think are the most important subjects. We think ours is the best.
Any plans to expand or revise for next year, or do you actively seek feedback on how this is put together?
That's right. Well, we keep changing tests in Georgia, so we have to evolve with the test, and we certainly will accept any kinds of criticism or input and take those into consideration, hopefully make this a better report next year.
I'm Mary Ann Melnick from Warner Robins High School. I've been associated with Warner Robins High School for 13 years, 6 years as an assistant principal, and this is my 7th year as principal. Over those years, I've seen a tremendous change in our population. We've become more diverse culturally and socioeconomically, and I think that is why I'm so proud to be here today. We have maintained, if not achieved higher, in our goals and our expectations over the course of the last couple of years in reference to that diverse culture that we've seen come into our schools. We set high expectations, like James has indicated, and we ask our children to meet those expectations. We do not bring the curriculum down, we bring the children up.